How would you children like to suck on my chocolate salty balls?
Oh, you mean like a chocolate candy?
No, I mean my balls.
Suck my balls. Suck my balls.
What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to another edition of SMB, a South Park Review, where each and every week we break down South Park for you in linear fashion. And this week, we're back for some more. We're back to plant some seeds into your brain. We're back to Inception, your mind. But before we get there, I, of course, am your host in the heat, and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's how the air is dry, ya boy, MSG. You can follow us as a podcast by going to Linktr.ee/SouthParkPod. Also, check us out, South Park Podcast on Instagram, South Park Pods pretty much everywhere. South Park Pod on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Look me up there at Matthew_Schaffer on Instagram and the X as well. This week, I'm alone. Everyone's still a little bit busy coming off the holiday season and family events. So it's just me that's going to drop some Inception into your mind, ladies and gentlemen, as this is SMB number 208. It is the 10th episode of season 14 and the 205th overall episode of South Park, as it first aired on October the 20th, 2010. So here's how this episode breaks down. Stan is sent to the school counselor because he's holding on to an obscene number of useless trash possessions, things that and there comes to a realization that Mr. Mackey might be hoarding as well. So this is kind of like a little bit of a parody to start off of their commentary, the social commentary of all the hoarding shows that were kind of pretty big, or was big at the time itself, with different individuals living in these different lifestyles where they were unable or unwilling to psychologically give up items because they had attached sentimental and emotional and mental ties to these items itself that they were unable to get rid of them. Sometimes it had to, it was some previous sort of emotional, it was some sort of emotional trauma that might have happened in their past that led to them wanting to cling on to these items. So that's what South Park's kind of commentating on here with the hoarding episode. But I'm getting ahead. Let's get started here. Stan, like I said, he's sent to the school counselor's office, but here's how it starts out. Stan is sitting at lunch with the other boys, and Butters comes up with a message from Stan's girlfriend, Wendy, saying they need to talk. Of course, Cartman's like, that's never good, dude. Never good when girlfriend needs to talk. So Stan goes and he meets up with Wendy, and Wendy explains that Stan has got a hoarding problem, that his hoarding problem has gotten out of control, and she can't take it anymore. And she pleads with Stan to meet with an expert. So Stan, not realizing that he has a hoarding problem, initially just goes, yeah, that's fine. I'll meet with an expert. So the expert, Dr. Chinstrap, helps Stan go through his locker. And it starts off seeming like the usual adult ridiculousness as soon as it becomes apparent that Stan really does have a problem. His locker's overstuffed. They find a number of disgusting items, including a maggot-infested sandwich, a broken toothbrush, which Stan refuses to give up, and then Wendy kind of breaks down in tears, with Kyle then ending the scene going, dude, maybe you do have a problem. Maybe you should go see the school counselor. So let's go ahead and we'll start off there.
A ping pong ball with his dick, and it goes right in the other guy's mouth.
Hey, Stan, I have a note for you.
A note?
Yeah, Wendy said to give you this. I'm like a mailman.
Like a mailman.
What's it say?
We need to talk.
Uh-oh.
Chick says we need to talk. You might as well just start punching yourself in the balls, dude.
That's great. All right, so here's jumping forward now as Wendy's kind of explained to the girls. She says, I've seen hoarding. Here's all the signs. Stan has it, and Stan shows up. He's like, dude, is there a problem?
And lately you've been asking to keep things in my locker.
Well, it's just a little messy.
No, Stan, it's called hoarding. And if you don't get help, I don't know how much longer I can be with you.
Oh, come on.
Then can we throw some stuff in your locker away?
Yeah, all right.
Okay. I've hired some experts to help you with this. We'll make this as easy as possible on you, Stan.
We'll make this as easy. This is not easy already. Making it easy as possible would have been just like having maybe a first encounter to see if he really did have hoarding, not just showing up with a doctor and like freaking him out in front of everybody. Come on. All right, here we go. Here's the next scene here with Stan and the Dr. Chinstrap. locker. But he's crying.
What? Come on, it's not that bad.
Not that bad.
Now, as part of Stan's therapy, we need to make sure we don't throw away anything he doesn't want us to. Stan needs to feel like he is in control or his psychosis will come out.
I like how they're talking in like third person because Stan's like right there and he can't hear anything.
My psychosis? Look, it isn't that big a deal. I just throw this stuff away.
Okay, great. How about we start with this?
Well, no, that's my pencil box. I need my pencil box.
Okay.
Valid point. You do need your pencil box. I mean, you got to use that for school.
Okay, we'll put that right here on the floor. Now, how about this? Broken toothbrush.
Broken toothbrush. Now, look, I understand that could be considered something to throw away, but what if, that's the only toothbrush and you want to just brush teeth at school? I get it. You're recycling, you're reusing.
Well, it's good to have that because sometimes I really want to brush after lunch and
But it's broken.
Yeah, but it works perfectly fine.
Okay. Broken toothbrush is going right here by the pencil box. Now, how about this?
The maggot-infested filled sandwich.
Old sandwich in a baggie filled with maggots.
And Stan's reaction is like, well, no, you can't throw that away, no.
Yeah. Well, I kind of need that. Let's just keep that.
Now, it's interesting. He's going to say the maggots are crawling up my hand, Stan. And there are maggots. If you look here on the screen, you're watching the visual here. There's maggots right here on his knuckles and his hands.
It's full of maggots, Stan. Can we throw it away?
Well, I might need it if I ever have to,
The maggots are crawling down my hand and biting my wrist, Stan. Can we throw this away?
I guess so, but...
So this is going to continue to escalate, and Stan's going to eventually kind of have a little bit of a meltdown here as he realizes that he really does have a hoarding problem.
Well, no, don't throw that out.
Can we throw out these wadded up papers then?
No, because there could be something written on one of them that's important. And, no, don't take my empty bottle. Give me back my sandwich.
Back my sandwich. Cartman.
Dude, what's wrong with you?
I don't know.
Maybe you should go talk to the counselor.
So there you go. So that's Kyle's suggestion. Maybe you should go talk to the counselor, right? So now, after he visits the counselor, of course, and Mr. Mackey, but the thing is, when Stan walks into Mr. Mackey's office is a mess. And Stan recognizes right away, and he's like, is there anything you want to talk about? He's like, like what? And Stan's like, well, you got this old dried up whatever, he's milk carton here. And then, of course, Mr. Mackey, he, drops one of his patent lines that I have right here on the board. It's like,
Judge, that's not something to throw away. If you throw that away, I will rape you in the mouth. Okay? I will rape you in your fucking mouth. Okay?
That scene is coming up next right here. So following that scene, if you want to see that clip, you can check out our TikTok, Instagram at SouthParkPod if you want to check out that clip itself. So Stan, though, after having a conversation and deducing that Mackey is one himself, there's some experts that come in and they have a conversation with Randy and Sharon Marsh, Principal Victoria, and Mr. Garrison. And the two of them, along with Mr. Yellman, a sheep herder, who they mistakenly think is a sheep hoarder, are hooked up to a machine. So essentially what happens is they deduce that they have a hoarding problem. The best way to get rid of this hoarding issue is to go inside their mind in a psychological way, so that way they can identify what the issue is on why that individual is hoarding.
I don't know a lot about what causes hoarding, but we do know it often relates to some kind of psychological trauma. If it's okay with you, we'd like to run some tests on the both of them.
Run some tests.
Is that really necessary for Stan? It's just his locker.
I don't know if you realize how serious locker hoarding is. It can lead to room hoarding, then house hoarding. In some cases, people even hoard animals, like cats. Oh yeah, like that weird guy over on Burgess Road. That guy, Mr. Yellman. He's been hoarding animals for years now. Oh no, really?
This guy actually is a sheep herder. Like he herds sheep, as in the HERD version. That's his job. But these individuals mistakenly think it's going to be sheep hoarding. All right, so here's the experiment now.
Office hoarding or in the locker, or even the hoarding of animals. Excuse me, but I am a sheep herder. It's pronounced hoarder, and yes, you are. but I'm actually herding sheep. Yes, you are herding sheep by hoarding them, aren't you? It's good you realize that. No, but I just thought... Now listen! There's a psychological reason you're all doing this, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to do some regression therapy. I'll be taking you deep into your memories, into your past.
Just make him...
Okay, that sounds like it could be bad. Okay. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I want the three of you to relax and think about a cloud.
Cloud. So he does this whole hypnosis thing. He takes them back in time into their mind where they have their own, they start to have their own therapy. So as mentioned there, Chinstrap and his assistant, Dr. Pinkerton, explained to Randy and Sharon that the machine is going to help them figure out, why they're hoarders by drifting them into their subconscious. And then moments later, as we drift into the subconscious of Mr. Mackey, we see he is being bullied by a boy named Billy Thompson, who threatens to attack Mackey at a field trip the next day when he runs into Stan and the sheep herder, who, as the scientist explains in reality, are there because of the power of Mackey's dream. Basically what happens is Mr. Mackey's dream is so vivid and so imaginative that it takes over Stan and the sheep hoarder's dream or subconscious, and they get sucked into it. So Mackey, within the dream, goes home with Stan, who tries to talk him out of the dream. But Mackey instead plays with his library, and old toys. Randy insists, though, he has to then rescue his son from his dream, despite Chinstrap and Pinkerton warning that he will be stuck in there forever if they can't get him out. All right, so here we are now in Mr. Mackey's dream.
Oh, hi, Billy. Nice to see you. Okay. Come here. Well, I actually need to get home. Okay. You snitched and told the principal I was smoking. Oh, well, smoking's bad. Okay.
So, of course, Mr. Mackey here is having a little bit of a flashback to when he was being bullied. This is where Stan realizes he's been sucked into Mr. Mackey's dream.
Okay, there go. It's okay. Calm down. Gotta turn on the light. What? Whoa, wait, what am I doing here? Shh, be quiet.
Excuse me, where are we?
Shh, you gotta be quiet. Billy Thompson's out there. What the hell's going on?
What the hell is going on? The counselor's flat-top readers are copulating with the boys and the sheep hoarders. Oh, Jesus. What does that mean? It means Mr. Mackey's childhood regression dream is so vivid it actually sucked the other two patients into it.
Jiminy Christmas. All right, so now while this is going on, there's this parody where they're kind of making fun of the movie Inception here. So it starts off here where they're trying to explain why this is important, what they're doing as far as going into the subconscious. And they do so by doing this parody kind of a song background. This guy does a cappella by making noises with his mouth. Dun, dun.
All right. Look, it is possible to enter into someone else's dreams. Send dream trackers to go into a person's subconscious, like a spy seeing their dreams as they see them, perhaps even planting ideas. If one person is regressing deeply enough, the dream can actually envelop those dreaming around the first person I talked about who's dreaming. And then, everyone in the dream would be in danger of never coming back.
All right, so as I mentioned there at the end of that scene, it was going to shoot over to them playing with the toys in Mr. Mackey's room. So the dream moves on to the next morning now, where Stan, Mr. Mackey, and the sheep herder and the kids board a bus for a field trip. And Stan suddenly sees Randy, who's now, of course, we mentioned, went into the dream, who's for some reason a butterfly. Stan asks if he's here to help, but Randy reveals that while that was his intention, well, I was gonna, but now I think I'm going to go get some butterfly poon. Stan's like, Dad, you got to help me. He's like, I'm sorry, son. Butterflies aren't concerned with that. I'm going to go get some butterfly poon. So then the experts claim that they have called in another group of experts to go into the dream to create a dream within a dream by moving them into Randy's dream, thinking that this is Matt Hasselback's dream, and save them, with one expert providing overly dramatic boombox backing, which I mentioned. They'll do it again. The second group is the cast of Inception, which comes in shooting at people before going into the dream, where they proceed to shoot even more people in the woods as the group arrives. Stan, the sheep herder, and Mackey see Woodsy the owl, a owl mascot, with the tagline, "Give a hoot, don't pollute," performing a song and giving anti-littering advice before being put in a work group with Billy and his two friends. It is clear that Mr. Mackey was a fan of Woodsy the owl and jumps for joy at meeting him before singing the lyrics of the anti-littering song. So here's Randy now. He's saying he's going into the dream.
What are you doing? I'm going in. If they're locked into his regression, then maybe I can be too. Are you crazy? Mackey's in a very unstable state. Damn your incongruities. I'm going in after my son. It's a dream world where Mackey can imagine himself to be anything.
They play this backing music like Randy's like a hero. And then he's like, I don't care, get me in there.
Dangerous. I said get me in there. All right, you want to risk your ass? Fine. You see a cloud. It's a fluffy cloud, floating, happy, fluffy cloud. You reach out to it. Oh.
And then now Randy gets sucked into the dream.
All right, kids, everyone on the bus.
You mentioned the kids are boarding the bus.
Wait, where the hell are we now? It's the day of the big field trip.
Come on, Mackey. We're waiting for ya.
Oh, Jesus.
Mr. Mackey, you have to wake up. I don't belong here. I need to have my own regression therapy.
Exactly. So they're all sucked into Mr. Mackey's vision, his therapy.
Everyone on the bus now. We're running late. Excuse me. I'm actually a sheep herder. It's pronounced hoarder, young man, and if you are, you should talk to the school counselor about it. Yes, but I'm so...
He puts him on the bus. This guy's got a beard, and he's clearly an adult. Come on, what are we doing here? That's a little ridiculous. But I guess it was the 1960s, the 1970s, whatever. Jumping forward now, here's Randy the butterfly.
Did you come here to help me?
I was gonna, but ooh, this is fun.
Dad, you gotta stop Mackey and bring us back to reality.
Butterflies have no concern for such things, Dad. I'm gonna go find me some butterfly poon.
Dad!
Uh-oh, something's wrong. What is it? The father. He's gone completely off chart.
Off chart? What does that mean?
We don't even know. I told him not to go into the dream after his son. He should have waited for the experts to get here.
So it's at this point now the experts are about to bust in.
Who are the experts?
Get that door closed. Keep me covered.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Ah, good, you're here. What's the sitch?
What's the sitch?
4 people in there, all stuck in the middle one's dream. We need to move them all to the next dream level before the projections kill them.
What next dream level?
So this is where they're going to explain how dream levels working within a dream work. And of course, as we mentioned before, Dr. Chinstrap is going to give the background boombox music for this again.
All right, look. Right now, they're all trapped in a dream. We need to go in and put them under so they can go into a dream within a dream.
Why?
Because in the dream within a dream, we can protect them from getting to limbo.
What's that?
Empty, scary dream space.
So like a nightmare?
No, like a nightmare within a nightmare.
Why can't you wake up from that?
You can, but someone inside the dream has to kick you awake from the nightmare.
That doesn't sound very difficult.
It is.
Why?
We don't have time for this.
Okay, fine. So you're going to take my son to a dream within the dream, and then what?
Then we go into your husband's dreams.
Okay.
But your husband will think we're in Hasselback's dreams.
Okay, wait. Who's Hasselback?
I am.
And Hasselback at the time, of course, the current quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay. Wait, no. Why do we need a football player?
Sometimes thoughts of my dead wife manifest themselves as trains.
Are you all saying that you can go into a dream and take people in that dream into their own dreams?
Not all the time, just this once, and maybe one other time.
Not this time. Just maybe this once. And one other time.
It's so complex and cool.
Just because an idea is overly convoluted and complex doesn't make it cool. Going to multiple dream levels sounds like a really stupid idea.
You just don't get it because you're not smart enough.
That's exactly, let me go ahead here and let me pull out of the screen share before we get back into some more clips. That is exactly how people reacted at the time to the movie Inception. Like, if you didn't like the movie or you didn't understand what was going on because you thought it was overly complicated, then you were given the, what he just said. You just don't understand because you're just not smart enough. It was just too smart and too cool for you. And I'm going to be honest, I saw this episode of South Park before I saw the movie. So ladies and gentlemen, we can add it to another list of movies as we've talked in the past where movies where I've seen the episode of South Park make fun of it before I've seen it. And therefore the movie ends up being ruined. Now I'm going to be honest, dude, I'm a huge Leo fan. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, one of my favorite actors of all time, top 5. But I went into this movie a little jaded because of the episode and I could see where South Park was coming from because they did kind of make it overly complicated in the movie at times. Now, not that it wasn't a good movie. I'm not here to tell you it was a bad movie. I don't know if it was like this fantastic, over-the-top, crazy movie that everyone loved it for. But, it definitely wasn't a bad movie. Leo didn't do a bad job acting. It was just, from South Park's perspective, going within a dream, and then I'm manifesting my own fears and it's taking over within this dream. I could see where South Park was coming from and why they are poking fun at the fact that this movie was so highly hyped, so loved critically acclaimed by so many different people and media outlets that when you finally sit down and see it, you walk away and go, what the hell did I just watch? That was confusing. So I could see what they were saying. All right, let's jump back into the dream here. Is Stan the sheep herder Mackey, as we mentioned, go to see Woodsy the owl, and he's going to talk about give a hoot, don't pollute.
All about these amazing evergreens and this fragile ecosystem.
Oh, that should be fun, okay?
he sees Billy Miller and his friends there motioning that, they're going to beat him up. So now he's going to bring out, of course, Woodsy.
First, we have a very special guest. It's Woodsy Owl.
Oh boy, Woodsy Owl. Who's that? Give a hoot, don't pollute, okay?
Hi, I'm Woodsy Owl. Reminding you all to please pick up your trash and keep our forests clean. In the city or in the woods.
Help keep America looking good, okay? Oh, I love that song.
All right, kids.
All right, so now while Mackey and Stan and them are in the woods, the experts, that being the experts, Dr. Chinstrap and his assistant, Dr. Pinkerton, are courting now firefighters to get into the dream because they can bring ladders into the dream and begin trying to explain the events to Sharon, who claims it all sounds, of course, ridiculous and stupid. A pizza guy then arrives since one of the dreamers has ordered a pizza for some reason. He's just like, all right, I'm going in. And then Sharon is told she does not understand because she is not smart. And they basically kind of explain it to her like a taco inside of a KFC inside your mouth. And then within that dream, Mackey and Stan are running from the bullies when Stan convinces Mackey to stand up for himself. Mackey prepares to fight back. Back in reality, the experts decide the dream has become too powerful, and at this point, they must court the most powerful dream infiltrator of all time. And before we get there, while he does not wish to come back, the experts convince him to help out one final time. Okay, now here we are with the firefighters.
So you're saying that all those people in there are somehow trapped in one person's dream? Yes, and so that's why I called the fire department. I don't know where else to turn.
But wait, if those people got stuck in there, why wouldn't we?
It's very simple. You see, when the dream experts go in, they attempt to take the subject to a dream within a dream.
Like a taco within a taco?
Double-decker taco supreme.
Exactly. But only dream spies have the ability to go deeper into dream levels, and firemen have the ability to bring ladders into other people's dreams.
Wait, whoa. How could you take a ladder into a dream?
This is funny now. I don't know where Dr. Chinstrap got this. I'm assuming he got this from the sheep herder.
Because the firemen dreams aren't like dreams at all. They're more like a dream within a matrix within a dream.
Did somebody order a pizza?
No.
Probably one of them in the dream. All right, I'm going in.
The pizza guy's been there before. Like, all right, I'm going in. I've done this before.
Look, if we can get the fire department into the counselor's dream, then we can jump everyone down at least another 6 dream levels. That way, we'll be in the counselor's deepest level of subconscious.
Then here's where, of course, Dr. Chinstrap is going to express how this will be laid out, of course, within food analogy.
And it will be like a taco inside a taco within a Taco Bell that's inside a KFC within a mall that's inside your dream.
And then he does the last part. All right, moving to the next clip here. Here's a quick clip here of Stan trying to convince Mr. Mackey to stand up for himself.
Remember what they did? I just remember the field trip being really bad. Oh, God.
There he is! You can't run forever!
Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God.
Mr. Mackey, go and face it, please, so that we can get out of here and find out why we're hoarding.
But I literally heard sheep.
Shut up!
Like Stan's like, I don't have time for this joke. Shut up. But yes, he's trying to convince Mr. Mackey to stand up for himself here because he feels like obviously that Billy Miller could be this point of contention on which why Mr. Mackey hoards. That's his trauma, maybe.
Okay, I can do this. I'm just gonna stand and face what happens, okay?
So he says he's gonna stand and face what happens. While that's going on, as we mentioned, now they're gonna try and recruit another dream expert who's been, locked away for some time, who hasn't gone into people's dreams. Well, South Park goes ahead and pulls back some of the tropes here as we pull back one of the most fiercest dream dwellers of all time.
Somebody order pizza.
Mr. Mackey must be dreaming about something extremely traumatic.
All right, that does it. Get your coat.
Where are we going?
We need to get help from the most powerful dream infiltrator in the world.
You don't mean...
Here we are, we're out in the middle of the woods now, and a man is chopping wood. Who's that man, you might ask? Well, with a beard and no hat on, ladies and gentlemen, Freddy Krueger.
All right, look, we're in a pickle again and we need your help. Got some people trapped inside a dream.
Told you a long time ago. I gave that up.
This is interesting, though. They convince him to do it because of the fact that there's firefighters. That apparently gets Freddy Krueger to moving, though.
There's some good men stuck in there.
I said I'm done with it.
Everything all right, Fred?
Got kids and a wife.
It's fine, babe. Get back in the house.
Wife and kids.
No thanks to you.
We need you, Fred.
Like you needed me to kill those teenagers to stop the Russians?
We've had a country to protect.
Protect it yourselves this time.
Damn it, I'm not working for the military anymore, Krueger.
Then you should have no problem covering it up.
Right here. Firemen.
Some of those trapped are firemen, public servants, innocent in all of this.
That gets him. That gets Freddy Krueger to do it.
All right, fine.
That's what, after all the things he's done, now he's a public servant. Okay, he's coming around, right? Coming around. All right, so the experts I've mentioned convince him to come back one final time. Now, within Mackey's dream, the experts and the firefighters arrive, and they actually kill Billy Thompson just as Mr. Mackey is about to fight for him. Stan's like, shouldn't it, you let him, conquer his own fears himself and get over it? And the dream expert's like, no, as long as it's taken care of, that's all that matters. But the dream doesn't come to an end. And then Mr. Mackey inside the dream realizes, that's right. I got away from the bullies that day. I ran into a shack, and then somebody was in there, and he talked to me real nice. And he touched me in a real bad place. And then he opens the door of the shack to reveal a younger Mr. Mackey being taken advantage of by Woodsy the Owl. And the original younger Mr. Mackey becomes very distressed as he relives this memory, and the owl then begins to try and take control of the dream, killing Mr. Yellman in the process. Fortunately, though, he is then killed by Freddy Krueger. All right, so here's Mr. Mackey just about to stand up to the bullies when the dream experts come in, the interceptors.
I don't think so. You can do it, Mr. Mackey. Go ahead and do your worst, Billy. I'm facing you head on, okay? All right, Mackey. Take this.
They just get shot.
Get the perimeter secure. Make sure they're dead.
What the hell?
We got him.
We got him.
The bad memories.
Back-to-back weeks of saying we got him.
They're dead.
All right, everyone, this is the fire department. Do not panic.
Who are you people?
We came to rescue you from the bad guys in Mackey's dream.
Well, wouldn't it have been better to have Mackey face them on his own?
Right?
No, as long as the source of the drama is wiped out, the counselor can wake up. Right.
Now we're waking up.
So then why aren't we waking up?
As I mentioned, then Mackey reveals, well, I ran in here, and some touched him real bad. Door.
No, Woodsy, okay? Don't touch my pee-pee. No, Woodsy, please, I'll give a hoot, okay? Woodsy out. No, I'll never litter again. I'll keep all my trash. No, please, Woodsy, no.
What's...
So, yeah, that's what we kind of get this psychological stem here, is Mr. Mackey was taken advantage of as a child. And unfortunately, because of that, the character animal thing, whatever, the owl, the mascot that took advantage of the guy in the costume, it made him hoard all of his trash and things like that, not pollute, because he felt traumatized by the animal that said, give a hoot, don't pollute. And obviously thinking in his mind, somewhere it was suppressed that if he polluted, then he was going to be hooted again in the behind.
Happening! Dream conundrum! This is bad!
What the hell's going on? The bad memory is manifesting itself. It didn't want to be exposed.
Now that it's exposed, you got this nightmarish looking, if you're watching on YouTube here, nightmarish looking hoot owl. And then all of a sudden, just as they think it's about to be over.
No more Woodsy.
Mr. Mackey, you have to wake up now.
He can't, don't you get it? We're all gonna go to limbo.
And Freddy Krueger shows.
There's a real hoot for ya, Woodsy.
As we were talking about Mr. Yellman, you can see his head's there on the ground. The sheep herder, he was killed. Means he's dead, because if you die in the dream, obviously, then you die in real life.
It's dead. It's finally dead.
It's dead.
Something's happening. I'm getting Bogart levels on all counter-ups.
So now they finally wake up, and it's at this point they're like, "Oh my gosh, Woodsy destroyed everyone," and basically Freddy So the experts explain to Mackey that he must have become a hoarder because he suppressed the memory of Woodsy's tagline about not polluting, as well as the distress of the trauma of being taken advantage by that mascot. Freddy Krueger, of course, observes guilt as he could not save the herder. And then they all suggest, let's move on to your therapy now, Stan. And Stan's like, I've got a better idea. And then we go to the final scene of the show where he's throwing out the items in his locker. Wendy and Kyle arrive and ask him if the problem was fixed. And Stan says he doesn't care and does not want more therapy. Kyle then suggests, well, maybe that was your therapy. And then the first expert comes out again doing overdramatic boom boxing again. So basically, they allude to the fact that Stan witnessing the trauma of hoarding through Mr. Mackey's version and watching him go over that, it helped avoid him creating a hoarding lifestyle. So it was therapeutic for him as well. Let's jump into those final clips now.
If only I could have saved the sheep herder.
Well, did you find the painful source of your hoarding problems, Mr. Mackey?
I sure did. Turns out he was molested by Woodsy Owl.
I'd completely blocked it from my memory, okay?
So he was hoarding because when he tried to throw things away, his subconscious would remember Woodsy's voice saying, "Give a hoot, don't pollute," and touching his penis with his wing?
Wow, that is so complex and trippy and cool.
Well, now that we've uncovered Mackey's source of hoarding, we can finally move on to yours, Stan. Are you ready for your therapy?
I think I have a better idea.
As I said, thinks he has a better idea. We go to the final scene now. Now we see Stan here cleaning out his locker. Kyle and Wendy approach.
Stan, did you find out the reason you've been hoarding?
Whatever it is, I don't want to know. I'm just going to throw this crap away like I should have to begin with.
But dude, there must be something in your past you're not dealing with.
Don't care. After going through all that crap and seeing what happened to Mackey, I don't want any part of therapy.
How do you know that wasn't your therapy?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your full recap. We'll be back right now on the other side with some pop culture and trivia. We'll be right back.
Subscribe to Suck My Balls, a South Park review on Spotify, Apple's, iTunes, anywhere you want to download a podcast. Just type that in, subscribe to our feed, and you'll get the latest, greatest episode each and every week. You can also listen to us on YouTube and go back and watch some videos or any of our library. It's all there. Suck My Balls, South Park review.
Welcome back now on the other side. Once again, shout out to our sponsors. They're provided by Spreaker. Go ahead and hit that Linktr.ee/SouthParkPod for all of our landing pages. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you're watching it right here on YouTube. Of course, you can follow us as a podcast on all outlets, South Park Pod, South Park Podcast on Instagram, South Park Pods with an S on the X. The X. Get the mic there. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not the 2022 Red Rocks Day 1 South Park Trivia Champion. I am not a trivia god like Joe Vernola, but I'll do my best. This episode shows Mr. Mackey when he was a child along with South Park Elementary in roughly 1974/1975, judging, of course, with a poster in the school hallway that reads Fall Fest 74. Despite rescuing a young Mackey from getting taken advantage of, the original Freddy Krueger was envisioned as someone who took advantage of children by Wes Craven. It was only subtly applied once. It was not expressly stated or even made canon until the remake. The scene where Woodsy Owl is taking advantage of Mr. Mackey is actually a reference to a real scandal involving Woodsy Owl. Cartman and Kenny do not reappear in the scene when Stan's locker is being cleaned. Also, Kyle only has this small role. Billy Thompson is also the original birth name of the young Ben Affleck in How to Eat with Your Butt. Randy becoming a butterfly is a reference to Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi, who dreamt he was a butterfly. What's that? Huangzi? It's a Z. So it's Huangzi. I don't know. If you're probably listening from China, correct me. Upon the episode's release, Dan Gerwich from the humor website College Humor noted several similarities between Inception and his own Inception parody video. Of course, Inception characters do not understand Inception, which he made with David Young and first posted to the College Humor website on August 2nd, 2010. He discovered that many lines from South Park's episodes seemed to be lifted almost verbatim from their sketch. Matt Stone later issued an apology admitting that when he intended to parody complexity of Inception, they did not have a copy of the film to reference, instead turning to the internet for information on the film. Stone went on to explain that we thought their joke was that of a lot of those lines were actually in the movie, basically saying they thought the college humor lifted lines from the movie, and they were banging them against each other and showing that the Inception characters didn't even know Inception. That was a mistake, and it was an honest mistake. It's just because we do not know the show in 6 days. I'm sorry, it's just because we do the show in 6 days, and we're stupid, and we just threw it together. But in the end, there are some lines that we had to call and apologize for. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your trivia. Shout out to my boy Dane Becker. Let's talk about some pop culture. This episode opens with Cartman saying, "So then this guy hits a ping pong ball with his dick, and it goes right into the other guy's mouth." And he, of course, is talking about a scene from Jackass 3D, a movie that premiered in theaters the weekend before this episode aired. Woodsy the Owl, the mascot who attempts to take advantage of Mr. Mackey, is a real-life icon used by the United States Forest Service to teach young children about appreciating nature. Also, his former motto was, "Give a hoot, don't pollute," which is mentioned in this episode. They talked about the top of the episode. Hoarders is a documentary TV program on A&E about people suffering from compulsive hoarding. And what this episode, of course, is parodying is those hoarders' dialogues. Elements of the 2000 film 10 Inception are parodied in this episode. The name, of course, episode alludes to the intricate and confusing plotline, which I mentioned. The concept of being able to enter a person's subconscious is an element of the film. Most of the characters even appear in this episode, with the exception of Adrian, who appears to help pull someone out of the dream. The scene where Freddy Krueger is recruited is a reference to the 1994 film Star Trek Generations, down to the line, "The greatest dream infiltrator of all time," which was originally Starship Captain. Freddy's line about killing those teenagers to stop the Russians was a reference to a Nightmare on Elm Street film, which he spawns from. After the sheep herder is decapitated in the dream world, his headless body can be briefly seen near Mr. Mackey after they wake up. This is a reference to a concept in, of course, a Nightmare on Elm Street films, which if a person dies in their dream by Freddy Krueger, the person will die in real life. A couple more things here. As I mentioned, Matt Hasselbeck is shown. He's, of course, at the time, quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. Dr. Chintrap's musical accompaniment whenever the complicated dream rules are explained is a reference to the YouTube video where the Inception trailer is redubbed a cappella while the soundtrack itself is Mindset composed by Zach Hermsey. Mr. Mackey is seen watching Zoom on his TV, which ran from 1972 through 1978. Later, the Zoom show was re-released in January of 1999 and continued to air through May of 2005. That, of course, was on PBS. A poster that says Space 1989 is seen in Mr. Mackey's room in the 1970s. This is a parody of the science fiction film Space 1999, which ran from 1975 through 1977, a TV show. $6 Million Man was also shown. There are figures of Getter Dragon and Raiden from the Japanese anime Getter Robo G and Brave Raiden, respectively. Both figures actually existed and were available in the United States in the late 70s through the Shogun Warriors line of imported Japanese toys licensed by Mattel, with Getter Robo G also having an Americanized broadcast on TV as Starvengers, one of 5 different anime series given the treatment to the Force 5 anthology series in 1979 in response to the popularity of Shogun Warriors toy line. 2 things left. In one scene, Mr. Mackey is seen playing with a light bright and a rock'em sock'em robots. And finally, when Randy humps a butterfly in Mr. Mackey's dream, Rands de Vetches can be heard, which is a song. Ladies and gentlemen, or I guess it'd be Rands de Vache. Man, I can't do French. Sorry, Darren's not here. That is your pop culture. Well, and ladies and gentlemen, there is no continuity this week, so I'll just give you my final thoughts. I enjoyed this episode. When this first came out, as I mentioned throughout the episode, I liked the fact that they went after Inception. Because at the time, Inception was such a big movie. Everybody was talking about it. People were seeing it over and over to understand the movie, the plot line. But I really like the fact that South Park went after it, making fun of the fact that it was such an intricate, complicated storyline that you had to see it multiple times to understand what the hell was going on. But also picking at the fact that just because it was an intricate, complicated movie doesn't mean that it made it a great movie. It doesn't mean that it made it awesome as people were making it, because at times it could have dragged a little bit, and I could see some of the perspective. Was the, cinematography amazing? Oh, yes. Inception was cinematography shot well. Leonardo DiCaprio did a great job with the acting as far as what he was presenting and the character, which he had to do. There was some, different story elements that were provided in that movie. And you kind of, to this day, people still question what really happened in the end. Was he awake or wasn't he? So it definitely, they went after that. I thought that was really funny. I liked, Stan having to deal with his own hoarding potential trauma. And it's interesting. Like, did he pick up this hoarding from Mr. Mackey because he saw it? Where did he pick up the hoarding from? That's never really resolved, but it is resolved. It's in itself that being hoarding because he's able to see and identify with the fact that Mr. Mackey goes through his whole life hoarding because of this trauma that he went through. And he goes, wait a minute, I need to deal with my trauma another way. So I'm just going to throw this out. What that leads Stan to do later, we don't know. But as we find out later as well, Stan also, does have a little bit of nihilism, right? In him, where he's just an asshole. And he's got to deal with it by drinking. So Stan's got a lot of problems. And this is just one of the early characteristics, this is one of the early character flaws that we're introduced to about Stan Marsh. Overall, I'd say this is in my top 150. It's a funny episode. I enjoy it. I go back and watch it from time to time just because of that guy is ridiculous. Of course, it's going to be like a taco with inside of a taco, with inside of a Taco Bell, with side of a KFC, with side of a mall, which is inside your dream. That's hysterical. So all in all, great episode. I really enjoyed it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for another edition of SMB, a South Park Review. Once again, shout out to our sponsors, provided by Spreaker. Please choose to support them if it aligns with your values and your regions, as I think it's set up through a geographical region and area based on what you listen to and what you like. You choose to use them. Tell them SMB at South Park Review sent you. If you download the Spreaker app and you choose to listen to the podcast that way, we appreciate it if you get 10% more revenue. Otherwise, hit that like and subscribe button wherever you're watching it, listening to it. If you're watching it right here on YouTube, we appreciate it as well. Coming up next week, it's the return of the superheroes, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite 3-part arcs here in the lore of South Park. As Coon 2 Hindsight comes back, what happens when Eric Cartman and all of his friends decide that they must protect the town of South Park as well as the entire world with their superhero league? What happens when Cartman goes too far? The tables are turned, coming up next week on another edition of SMB, a South Park Review.